everybody, it's me Alexa and we are back with another monthly video. We've decided to call it Alexa Talks because it kind of fits with our like Alexa Reacts. And I write Alexa reviews and stuff, so to stick with theme, we've decided to call these Alexa Talks. So today I'm going to be talking about a few different things, you know, talking about the movies I watched this past month, some of the movies coming out, so there aren't too many movies coming out. We're also going to be talking about horror movies in general, because it is, of course, spooky month. And I'm going to talk briefly about Halloween, because I really like Halloween. Those will be our main topics, horror movies. And then I guess it'll be like a sub-main topic, Halloween. And then to wrap it up, we'll, of course, have a Q&A and a few of the updates about what you guys should expect in October. Before we jump in, I want to give a big thank you to our 5 Meters Deep members on Patreon, Taran Kanaganti, as well as Anonymous. They didn't want to be named, but just a huge thank you to you guys. We appreciate all the support, just like we appreciate support from every single one of y'all. So thank you guys for coming back and watching. Before we jump into all that fun stuff, let's take a look at our successes from this past month. So to start off, we hit 36,000 subscribers here on GW International. Absolutely crazy. Y'all just keep growing, and I love the amount of support from you all, and I just appreciate all you guys so much. So thank you all for coming, sticking around, and watching my videos that I like making. We also hit 125 subscribers over on our gameplay channel. Very exciting. We're going to actually be having some changes coming to our gameplay channel in these next few weeks, so feel free to check out. I'm sure we'll be giving updates on the community page about that, but we're pretty excited about those. On the website last month, we got over 16,000 reads across all of our articles. Very exciting. And we also have begun getting game codes though, so this is really cool, where we connect with like the developers or publishers from a company, and we get access to some of their games that they've made so that we can give reviews for them, as well as do some gameplays on the channel, and it's really fun and a very cool thing that we're able to do. We also through that have been getting some links to buy games, so if you're thinking about buying a game in the upcoming weeks on your PC, feel free to check out the links that we have available right now. I'll have a link in the description of this video, and they're on the support us page on the website, which is linked in every video. And if you go there, you'll see a list of games that we currently have links for, and if you use those links to buy it, we'll get a percentage of it, so it'll help support GW and Co. Also, you're probably a little confused because this one says October instead of September, and the last one said August. You're like, what went on September? So the reason I decided for this, because I realized that the majority of what I'm talking about today has to do with October more so than it has to do with September. So originally my idea for it was going to be more of a reflection on the last month, but it's kind of become more of a what to expect in the upcoming month. So because of that, I thought that I would just switch to October early on here. So this will cover a lot of the recap from September, but it'll also be talking mostly about what to expect here in October, and then the next one will be more of what to expect in November with a brief wrap up of October, etc, etc. So I figured I should make the change now instead of waiting a bit. Alright, so now on to the movies I watched in September. So this past month, I watched significantly less than August. I still watched a lot. I watched 19 movies total. The full list is in a little square here, but my favorites kind of from the month were probably Vikram Vedha, which I did a full review for if you guys want to check that out. I also rewatched the Bahubali films. My review for that will be coming out. It's available right now exclusively to our Patreon members, but it'll be coming out on the channel in a few days. And so I really enjoyed rewatching those. You'll hear all my thoughts on that coming up. I also finally watched the 1990 film Goodfellas, which is like a mob movie based on true events about this mobster named Henry Hill and all the people around him. And it's pretty crazy, the fact that a lot of this is real. The whole like mob world I find super fascinating. I really love watching movies about mobs, so I don't know why I hadn't seen this movie before, because it's like the iconic one about it. But if you haven't watched this movie, I definitely recommend it. It is really good. I also of course watched another shark movie. Is it even a month if I didn't watch a shark monster movie? But this time I watched a movie called Shark Lake, which stars Dolph Lundgren from the Rocky IV movie. So it was a lot of fun. If you like these kind of like cheesy shark monster movies, definitely recommend. And I also of course watched the cult classic Lake Placid, which is a crocodile monster film and is equally as fun, though I think that one's probably better made. So yeah, those are some of my favorite films that I watched this past month, and now let's talk about what's coming out this October. So we don't actually have that many movies coming out this month. It's a little weird. I was trying to look up what movies are coming out, and there was nothing that was super notable. So I know Nishabdam just came out. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. The movie is starring Anushka Shetty and Madhavan. I did a trailer reaction just recently. And so that just came out October 2nd. I was planning on watching it this weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to now or not. We'll see. I'll just watch it. But I don't know if I'm going to do a review or not. Oh, we'll see. We'll see if I do a review or not. But I will watch it and I'll at least like make a post about my thoughts on the community page or something. I also just saw there's a poster and like a trailer just came out for a movie called The Witches, which is based on a Roald Dahl book. Roald Dahl is like, he is a children's book author, but they were like slightly more disturbing children's books, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, those kind of ones that are a little like creepier than your typical children's book. But so I think that might be interesting to take a look at. It will be coming on HBO Max, and I don't have that, so I probably won't be able to watch it. But I thought that the poster looked really cool, and it stars Anne Hathaway, Octavia Spencer, and Stanley Tucci. So I think that might be worth a look. We'll have to see. And then there's a lot of not great looking horror movies coming out across like different like Netflix and other video on demand streaming services. It makes sense, especially because I mean these always kind of come out, but there's normally like the bigger ones, like The Conjuring 3 was supposed to come out already. Really want to see that, but you know, it's okay. And so now though we have a bunch of smaller ones that are coming out across different ones, and because there aren't the like huge horror ones that we normally get this month, I think that those may be getting a lot more attention than normal. I know one just came out on Netflix called Vampires versus the Bronx, and I really don't know much about it at all. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad, but I just saw the title and thought it sounded very interesting, so yeah, we'll have to see about that one. There aren't too many reviews in yet, but it does currently have an 80% on Rotten Tomato, but Rotten Tomatoes been letting me down a lot lately in both ends, where it'll give a good movie bad ratings and a bad movie good ratings, so I don't know how much I trust them anymore. But it is pretty promising to have that high of a percentage though. There's definitely, I think, gonna be an onslaught of some like beef horror films that are gonna be coming out, especially across like Prime and Netflix and all of them. So it'll be interesting to see which of those kind of maybe kick off and become more popular than they would have if we had our like normal horror movies coming out every weekend in the theaters and such. So this kind of leads us into our main topic, which is horror movies. I promise that all these will be about like video on demand, and this also won't all be about that, just briefly at the beginning. But I think that it's going to be really fascinating to see how horror movies do with this different medium, because of course seeing a horror movie in theaters is an intense experience. It can also be ruined though, because I have like, I mean, as I talked about in the last one, like I remember I watched the horror movie Us in theaters, like the Jordan Peele film, and the first time I watched it, everyone in the room like heightened the suspense. Then the second time I watched it, the energy in the room kind of took away from the suspense. So it was a very different environment, and that helped make the movie better or worse. I still enjoyed it both times. So we'll see how these do. I mean, you can still kind of just turn off all the lights, watch in the darkness at home, a horror movie, and you'll get that creepy feel. I personally am not the biggest fan of horror movies. I have a mixed relationship with horror movies, okay? So it's complicated. So I used to hate them. I would not watch horror movies because I don't like feeling scared. That's not an emotion that I enjoy, and I never understood why people would watch these horror movies, because I'm like, why do you want to feel scared? That's like one of my least favorite emotions to feel. So I didn't watch them. So I did watch a few movies back in like high school and middle school. You know, every once in a while some friends would put them on or something, you know, and you watch a horror movie, it comes up. But overall, I would avoid them, and I only watched very few, like in the single digits amount of horror movies. And then when I was in film school, I had a lot of friends who really loved horror movies, and they wanted to watch them often, so I started watching them more and more because I'd be hanging out with them, we'd want to watch a movie, and they'd all vote for a horror movie, so I'd watch it. And I still wasn't a big fan, but then I started making horror shorts. And that led me to having kind of a newfound appreciation for horror movies, and they actually now are my favorite movie like style of genre to make. I adore making horror films, but I still don't like watching them that much. I like watching them more, but I only like to watch one every once in a while, and then I take a break, relax, recuperate, and then I'll maybe watch another one. I've also become better with them now that I've seen more, but I scare myself while I'm watching them, and I make it so much worse than it needs to be. So I'm still not a big fan of watching them, but making them, because So with horror movies, you're able to take real life like fears and emotions and translate them into something more visceral and like sometimes physical, you know, it depends on the type of movie that you're having, and create this beautiful metaphor for emotions and thoughts and such that people feel in their day-to-day life in a way that makes it resonate and connect with you. Like there's this one horror film called The Babadook, and I'm not a big fan of this movie in itself, like just sitting and watching it, but analyzing it, it is so fascinating because there's this creature called the Babadook, and this doesn't really spoil the movie because it's very like a subtle metaphor, but it represents the woman's depression. And I would definitely recommend it. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it is or not. If it is, I'll leave a link to it. But it has such a beautiful metaphor, and it creates this really strong message that anyone with depression would be able to like connect with. And I think that the ability to create that in such a way that also makes these visceral emotions, because I mean, making something that makes people react is so much fun. Like if you create a film and it makes someone laugh, or it makes someone jump or scared, or it makes them sad, like that is the best feeling that you can get from a movie, that you made someone feel an emotion. At least for me, that's like one of the best things possible. And so horror movies is one that has so many different ways that you can make people feel things, and so many different tools and ideas, and you can get so creative with it. And I mean, you can do this in other genres too, but for some reason, I just really enjoy horror movies in that sense. I mean, it comes to making people feel things and doing it through horror, because I've made a couple horror films. I've helped work on them. I normally work as like a producer. I'll leave a link to a few maybe in the description if you guys want to check those out. There's a few that are public, but yeah, I really love the ability to work on a film and then to have people watch it and like have them like gasp or like have a reaction to it is just so much fun and absolutely amazing. So yeah, well, I still don't quite love watching them yet. I do love making them, and every time I watch another one, I think that my appreciation for it grows and it makes me like them more. The only reason I really don't like horror movies is because I don't like feeling scared, which is like their purpose. But whenever I'm able to look past the overt scariness of it and analyze like the meanings behind it in a well-made horror movie, because there's of course some that were just made to scare you. Like there's those like slashers and like other ones that are made purely just to scare you, you know? But there's other ones that have these beautiful messages rooted in them and woven into the story, and those I find really enjoyable to watch. Still don't like weird horror though. I am still in the negatives for that. Like movies like Hereditary or Tumbad or stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a bit longer before I start liking those, if ever, but I still have an appreciation for them, so that's a progress. And then of course, the whole reason that we're talking about scary movies is because of Halloween. So I have always loved Halloween. It has always been one of my favorite holidays. I always dress up, go around this neighborhood, collect candy, and it was so much fun. I always loved dressing up as my favorite characters and then getting free candy. I still would like to get free candy. If it was acceptable, I would still walk to people's houses. But Halloween is really fun, and I always enjoyed walking around with my friends and just, you know, getting free candy. And also just the memories of hanging out with everyone. You're all in costume and you're just like playing around and playing make-believe and stuff, especially when you're little. It was just, I always found Halloween a really fun time, and yeah, I always enjoyed it. I also like, occasionally I do like matching costumes with friends and stuff, and it's just cute and fun. So now it's like slightly less fun as an adult, because, you know, you can't go house to house, and unless you're going to a party, which I'm not a big partier, there's no real reason to dress up in a costume either, so it's kind of like, and then this year there's no parties, none of that nonsense, even if you want to go, because safety first. But I still like the holiday. I love a bunch of my neighbors trying to like decorate and stuff, so there's all the like oranges and black and all the cool like creepy decorations that I find really fun, so I like the energy of Halloween still, but I thought that it would be fun to talk a little bit about the origins of Halloween, and also touch a little bit about how Halloween celebrated around the world. Halloween, how it's celebrated today in America, has its roots actually in Ireland, way back when, in like pre-Catholicism, Celtic festival called Samhain. This was a festival because they believed that the souls came back to Earth on October 31st. So they would like set bonfires, make sacrifices, and like pay homage and honor the dead on that day. And also, though occasionally people would dress up in like animal skins and such in order to scare off and like drive off the phantoms that would also come back. And so I think that that's kind of where the like dressing up costumes came from, because that also expanded into, still in like the Middle Ages, people would dress up as like ghosts or demons or other like evil things, and like perform little antics in exchange for food and drink. And so that pretty directly seems to translate to trick-or-treating today, where people dress up in costumes, normally scary but sometimes not, and they go around house to house and get candy. So it makes really sense where like it came from, and I thought that that was really cool and interesting. Back whenever they did it, back in the Middle Ages, it was called mumming. So I thought that was a pretty cool name. But of course, Halloween is not the only holiday that's celebrated on this time of year, and a lot of places actually do not celebrate any form of it. But there are a few other versions around the world. Like there's a holiday called Guy Fawkes Day in England, which I do not know much about. I may have to do some research on that. But there's also, of course, Dia de los Muertos, which is celebrated in Mexico as well as other Central and South American countries, and it's called Day of the Dead. It has similar beliefs to the Samhain, where they think that the spirits come back on that day, and how they celebrate it, and often is they light candles and incense to help bring their deceased beloveds home, and they'll also have portraits of them out with like flowers and candy, so that they can have their loved ones find their way back to them from where they resting and come back home, so that they can honor and like pay their respects to them and just remember the people in their lives who are no longer with them. So I think it's so fascinating, the beautiful meanings behind celebrations on the day of October 31st. Dia de los Muertos actually is a part of a 3-day festival that lasts until November 3rd, but begins on October 31st. So I think it's really fascinating how it's celebrated around the world and also the different roots of it. So if you guys would like, let me know in the comments down below, and I would love to make a video where I kind of like talk about how Halloween celebrated around the world and like why it's celebrated that way in different places and stuff. I think that would be really fun, and it'd be a really cool little international video where we talk about how different countries celebrate this one holiday, and also maybe why some countries don't celebrate it. Might be interesting. So let me know if you guys want to see a video about that, and I will make it. Alrighty, so that's all I have to say about Halloween in horror movies for today. So let's move on to questions and answers. So a big thank you again to our patrons over on Patreon for submitting their questions. Today I'm going to be answering 2 about travel. So firstly, where are my favorite places that I have visited in the world so far? So I have not been to too many countries, but I have been to a few. When I was really little, I went to the Dominican Republic, like when I was 6 years old, with some family friends who were from there. And while I sadly don't remember it too well because I was 6, I do remember it being a really beautiful experience. We spent the first half of the holiday with our family friend's family that still lived down there. Like we stayed at the abuela's house, which is grandmother. And we stayed there, and like it was really great experience. So we got to like actually learn what it was like in the culture there. And then we also did some of the more touristy stuff, you know, gotta do it. But we still did it with their families, so they were able to like show us around and teach us about the culture while we were there as well, in a way that we wouldn't have if we just went as tourists and didn't get to like go around and visit where they were from and everything. Really love visiting there, but I don't remember it enough to be able to say that this is my favorite place. So when I'm gonna go with a favorite place would probably have to be Italy. When I was in high school, I went on a field trip that was very touristy. I would like to go back in a less touristy capacity, but it was really a cool experience in high school. I like got my first job, saved up a bunch of money, and was able to go on a trip through my school to London, England, Paris, France, and then Florence and Rome in Italy. In both Florence, I mean, everywhere was beautiful and it was a wonderful experience, but Florence and Rome were gorgeous. Oh, Rome, I had a huge like nerd because I'm a big fan of like Greek and Roman mythology. So like to go to the Colosseum and also see like all the different ruins everywhere, just so much history, and it was really fascinating. There's also a place called Catacombs in Rome where it was literally like a bunch of like ruins, and a whole bunch of cats lived there, like stray cats. That made me really happy because I love cats. But overall, it was just such a beautiful place, so full of history. And Florence was just gorgeous, or it's called Firenze in Italian, like that's what they call the city. And it's absolutely beautiful. Oh my word. It was just, oh, everywhere I went was gorgeous, but Florence stuck out as just stunning. So they're probably my favorite 2 places I've been to, but following up closely in second would have to be Cannes, in France as well. I went there, I actually interned at the Cannes Film Festival back in 2018, and so I was able to spend 2 whole weeks out there with the festival and like get to explore the beautiful areas. I didn't do too much exploring because I was also like working and such and watching a lot of movies because I was at the film festival, but it was just absolutely stunning. Had these beautiful beaches, all the buildings were so beautiful. So it was cool also to be there while there were so many people from around the world there. Because there's like the whole international pavilion area, and I was actually working in the American pavilion that's there. So there I got to go around and explore the other tents where it was like just you walk in and you learn about film in their countries pretty much. It was really interesting and cool. Like you just got to go in and they talk about what films they had there at the festival, as well as like ways to like film there and stuff. So it was really cool to learn about a little bit about like film in different countries around the world through the tents there at the festival. So yeah, those are my favorite ones, Italy and then France. Those are my favorite places that I've been, specifically Florence and Rome and Cannes. So yeah, those are my favorite places I've traveled to so far. And then we have a question that I have been asked quite a few times actually, which is, when do I plan on visiting India? I really want to visit India. I think that would be an absolutely amazing experience. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because of the state of the world right now, which I'm sure you all understand. So I don't think I'm going to be able to go as soon as I'd like to, but I look forward to going hopefully within the next few years at the very least. I'll probably end up going the first time with Sri, because he's of course from AP, and so I'd probably be visiting more around that area, like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So that'd probably be where I go the first time, but I would love to be able to do like a full, like go all around India and explore it. I think that that would be so much fun. Yeah, hopefully I can do that within the next few years. It stinks that I can't make any like super concrete plans because of course coronavirus, and also, you know, it's a bit financially, it costs a few dollars to go to India and like be able to travel around and such. So we'll see how it goes when I'll be able to do that. But hopefully within like the next 3 years, I'd love to visit India for the first time. Alright, so those are our questions for today's video. And now let's go on to what to expect upcoming in October. So October updates. This is going to be pretty quick. We don't have too much new coming out this October. That's confirmed yet. We may be having some changes, as I talked about before, to the gameplay channel, which if we do, I'll make some posts about that in the community page. And I'll probably talk about it in some other videos as well. But one for sure thing that we're doing is, because it is October/Spooktober, we will be posting a whole bunch of fun articles talking about different scary or like thrillery, just intense movies and games and such over on the website. So if you have any interest in that sort of thing, I definitely recommend going over and checking it out. We just posted an article that's 7 scary games that are available on Xbox Game Pass that you can play this October. There's a whole bunch on there, and you can also of course get them in other ways as well if you don't have Xbox Game Pass, but it's just 7 really great games that we think are perfect to play whenever you're looking for something to do in this spooky season. I also have a new short film coming out this October that we recorded quite a while ago now, but we had to do a little bit of a festival run, and now we're going to be making it public this October 31st. So make sure to check that out whenever we do. I'll be making a link for it in the community page whenever it goes live. But yeah, we're pretty excited about it. I produced it as well as acted in it. Sri did the directing and cinematography and editing for it, as well as our friend Evan helped with the editing, and our friend Austin, who's also written a few articles on the website, also acted in the film, and our wonderful friend Tom did the music for it. So the score is phenomenal, and there's actually there's a bit of the score is already released online, so I'll leave a link to that in the description below if you want a little taste of the background music. But yeah, we're pretty excited about that coming out, so make sure to keep your eyes open on the community page, and we'll let you all know whenever it's coming out. So that's really it for October updates. Sorry there isn't more, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this monthly video. I'm really having a lot of fun making these, and I'm so excited to continue making them and hopefully make them better. Let me know if you have any suggestions for making these better. Always want to hear it, because that's what we're always looking to do, is make better content for you guys to show you all how much we appreciate you guys. Alrighty, so I think I am done talking for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our Patreon if you want early access to this video, or if you want to submit questions to be answered during the Q&A portion. And yeah, thank you guys again just so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, And I hope that you all are staying safe out there and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!